I'll show you the radar in just one moment, but the key point is, as you've already said, this system has been delayed once again, and it means that landfall of ex-tropical cyclone Alfred won't take place now till later Saturday, and that changes the intensity and duration of some of the impacts. The most important one is that flooding rain will now continue for another 48 hours. Okay, here is the track overnight. It was a Category 2. Thankfully, it weakened just north of Brisbane and is a tropical low before hitting the coastline. All right. Now, here is that radar. You can see the bands of heavy rain spinning clockwise around the centre of ex-tropical cyclone Alfred. But this is the really key point I want to make. There's the heaviest rain still sitting a long way off the coast. Now, if you remember that clockwise circulation, that band of torrential rain and storms will swing onto the coast later on Saturday. And I'll show you the forecast rain shortly, but we do have some heavy rain right down to the New South Wales mid-north coast. Here are some 24-hour totals to 9 a.m. Lismore 133. That makes over 250 millimetres in 48 hours for Lismore. Grafton 163 millimetres, Gold Coast 134, Sunshine Coast you've only had light falls so far, but of course the heaviest rain for that area is still to come. Now here is the track for the rest of today. You can see it should eventually make landfall, and the yellow shading here, that's a severe weather warning still in place for flash flooding and damaging wind gusts for many parts of southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales, guys.
So Tom, tell us what's expected to happen next.
Yeah, so this is the critical question, Richard, and this is what I want to get to, the forecast rain. I mentioned on the radar, there's the heaviest rain wrapping into the coast as we move into the latter hours of Saturday. So there's your peak rainfall pushing onto the coast. That's when we could see the 6-hour totals up to 250 millimetres. There's the darkest red, still sitting offshore though tonight. I'm going to keep going with this forecast rain because now Sunday is the peak. There it is, torrential falls, and it's further north compared to yesterday's predictions. The Sunshine Coast, the southern Wide Bay, Brisbane, thankfully not quite as heavy now on the New South Wales side of the border. They're still looking at major flooding, but the absolute life-threatening flash flooding will mostly be on the Queensland side of the border. That takes us to 10 p.m. on Sunday. Let's keep going because Monday, still seeing torrential falls up around parts of southeast Queensland. Again, now it looks like mostly north of Brisbane, and eventually, as we move into Monday, we'll start to get that rain easing. But have a look, it's moving further inland. I'm going to show you the forecast rain again as we move through Monday, but this time moving south, heavy falls moving down to the New South Wales northern slopes and ranges, and eventually, by the time we get to Tuesday, probably some good falls around Sydney, but no flooding. Let's put it all together over the next 5 days. That's why there's a flood watch now for these inland areas of northern New South Wales, more than 100 millimetres, that's the blue. Still 100 for much of the New South Wales north coast, but there's your 500 millimetres. That's on top of what's already fallen, of course, but there will be localised totals in that area that could even get close to 1 metre of rain. I'm going to finish off now just showing you where we currently have flood warnings already. The red is major flooding. You can see extending on both sides of the border, but there's the flood watch in blue, much of southeast Queensland all the way to the New South Wales northwest slopes and plains.